All right, welcome to our first YouTube live of the day. We're also going to be just putting the TikTok up right now. So we're live on both ends here. And before we get started on this YouTube live, I first want to discuss the, not shift, but the other opportunities that I am looking for within the market because with kind of the how signals kind of work is it's hard to provide signals for people if it's on a very short time frame, like the 5 minute, even 15 minutes. So then I've been taking it back and swing trading quite a bit more. But with the volatility, I think it just makes more sense to day trade as well as swing trade because, for example, when BTC is in a significant consolidation like we see here, if we were swing trading, we would wait for this break before we look to enter. But then if we're able to day trade, we're able to capitalize on the short-term volatility as well as looking at the larger market structure and then being able to capitalize on the larger moves as well. Morning, truck nubs. Morning to you as well. So let's start off on the weekly and on the daily, but we're mainly going to be sticking with the 1 hour and even kind of zooming into a little bit smaller of a time frame because it does look like we are breaking supports and looking definitely a lot more bearish now. We've broken past the ascending support. We can see that right here on the 4 hour. We've broken below that and it looks like we're going to hold. We got around 30 more seconds until the 4 hour closes, so we're definitely going to hold below that zone. Definitely the first potential indication that we could be a little bit more bearish. We're making lower lows and lower highs. It's just a matter of if we're able to hold this level of support. It's the lowest that the price has been able to hold for a while since we broke that zone initially at the start of February. February 5th is around where we broke this $9,400 previous resistance, which is now going to be our new level of support. So we'll see how it goes. We broke the first ascending trend line, which is definitely a little bit more bearish. We got the 4 hour to close, and we are still at a support zone because I do classify as a support zone. Looking at the different price action charts here, we can see on the daily for Gemini, it is a key zone of confluence with the key horizontal zone and the descending zone acting as new levels of support. So that's kind of why we are looking at that area as a level of support. And like we said before, what are we looking for before we're looking to really have a short bias? We're looking for the price to make a lower low, confirming this break of a support, really validating it with the candle closure below the area. And then we're looking for a lower high. We're seeing lower highs all along here, connection with a descending trend line. We probably won't see a lower high connect with the zone of confluence. If we do see the drop below, we'll probably see a lower high not too far into the future, probably still in February maybe. And then we're looking for that impulse push after the completion of the exhaustion to retest the previous support as a new level of resistance. So still in the works for the 4 hour. Not a whole lot has changed on the daily, on the weekly, on the monthly, all that stuff. We'll dive into the hour chart here and then also the 15 because like we said before, we're going to start diving into the smaller time frames because obviously it gives us more opportunities. And as long as you're able to manage your position sizing, the risk reward should be similar. So then the actual risk on the total portfolio and then the take home winnings and all that stuff should be pretty similar no matter if you're trading a risk of 5% with a reward of 15 or 12 or 10 or whatever the case may be, or if it's a risk of 1% and you're trading for a reward of 2, 3, 4, the actual risk on your total portfolio and then the reward potential for the trade should be similar. It doesn't really matter if you're swing trading or day trading because it's the risk on a total portfolio that really matters. So looking at the smaller time frames, we've already talked about the 4 hour and daily chart. Morning, Mitch. How's it going? Glad to have you within our Discord chat. We also have 8 people on our TikTok. We are hosting a TikTok live as well. So it does definitely look like we are pushing down, holding well below the zone back in kind of the middle of February 19th. And 17th, we see that there's a lot more wicks to the downside, showing and indicating that there's buy pressure, pushing the price right back up. But then now we see that the candles are able to hold below the zone. And then also, like we mentioned on the 4-hour, we've broken the ascending trend line, which is definitely our first indication that we could see some bearish action. And then it looks like we are dropping a little bit right now. So definitely having some short side exposure would not be a bad thing. I'll definitely be looking within the crypto market updates. But the fact that we dropped so low definitely shows that the bears are gaining confidence. We will want to see on the 4-hour here. So we just got a close, and the next candle is looking like it's pushing back down. Looking at the volume on the 4-hour, we actually did get quite a bit of buy pressure within that consolidation. We can see that right here, but kind of with the lower lows and lower highs coming closer to the support zone, we can clearly see that it's more in volume distribution, not much volume accumulation going on other than this big green candle. Taking it to other time frames and other exchanges, we can see, yes, within the consolidation, we can see, yeah, there is more buy accumulation occurring within this consolidation. But once we hit the resistance for that third validation of a rejection from the sellers, we can see that we started making lower lows and lower highs and seeing a tremendous amount of sell pressure compared to the buy pressure within the market. So overall, definitely looking a lot more bearish. We'll now go into the smaller time frames to kind of discuss what we're able to find here. But like I said before, what we're really looking for a major confirmation and having more conviction to the downside is to create a lower low, and then for the previous support to be acting as a nice new level of resistance around $9,400 zone. That would really give me confirmation that we'd be able to see sellers really push the price back down towards maybe the $7,800 area, which is our next level of demand. So that's the overall outlook. Let's take it to the 15-minute chart. Now, as we go into the smaller time frames, it's going to become these massive zones are going to become a little less valid in a way, because you're going to have a lot more noise. Like, for example, if the price breaks above the zone, you're not going to assume that that's a breakout. It's just, you know, a wick on a 15 or an hour chart or 4-hour chart. So you got to kind of consider that when you are looking at smaller time frames while using your zones from the 4-hour and hour chart. But overall, we made a push to the downside. We pulled back for completion of the exhaust, and we see massive wicks to the upside. We do see wicks to the downside as well, but that very strong wick to the upside signifies to me that there is strong sell volume coming in to the market. On the 15, not a whole lot more to talk about. The volume definitely, obviously, is a lot more weighted towards the sellers. Don't really see decreasing buy volume, but looking on the hour chart, there's not a whole lot of buy volume to begin with. We're kind of consolidating pretty low compared to the amount of sell volume we have. But for daily charts, like looking at the 15 and 5-minute, theoretically, yeah, you could potentially draw some consolidations. Like this is a nice consolidation with a nice level of support right here, a nice level of resistance. So it could be a nice, just a flag pattern. And if we are able to hold below the zone with the 5-minute now holding below the 93.80 zone, that would obviously give us an indication that it has had an initial support hold 3 times. If you count this as a mini hold, and then we pushed down, we pulled back, and now we are testing this previous level of support as a new level of resistance. We'll just see if it'll actually hold or not. So definitely looking a little bit more bearish. Like I said before, we'll look at the other pairs within the market to see if we could capture some trades for a little bit more of a day trade. But for now, we're going to be patient with BTC, and we'll look for different pairs within the market. So now we'll go on to the different tools that we will be using to assess the supply and demand. The first one will be the BTC longs and shorts. Like always, we see that the buyers within the market haven't really picked up the price. This is the number of margin trades opened on Bitfinex, calculated in the number of BTC. We have not as many buyers really entering the market, opening up any positions, but also on the same note, sellers have really dumped basically all positions, and there's no real positions opened on margin on the Bitfinex exchange on the daily time frame anyways. So there's definitely a lack of confidence in the sellers at this point in time. And you know, this could mean that they're just ramping up to start the margin trading, because like we said, like we've seen before, with a massive spike, you do see the price slowly climb back out, seeing higher highs and higher lows. But I do think that we will need to see a pretty sharp spike to the downside before we kind of see the sellers gain back more confidence. So that is that. I'm just looking at the price of different assets here, because it does look like it is pumping up a little bit more. So the last thing we're going to be looking at is the coin farm exchanges. Is right here. BitMEX definitely more weighted towards the sell side, 53% towards the sell side. Binance is weighted more towards the sell side on the 24-hour exchange as well, 52.6% more weighted towards the sell side. And then Bybit is more weighted towards the sell side yet again. Not a huge discrepancy, 51.6% versus 48.4% on Bybit. And then on the 1 hour time frame, definitely all three exchanges are weighted more towards the short side or sell side, 58%, 54%, and 53%. All not super significant, but definitely weighted more towards the sell side. So overall, we're looking more bearish, which makes sense. We've broken both support zones. We've broken below this zone. On the hour chart, at least on the 4 hour, we really haven't broken the major zone yet, but on the hour chart and the smaller time frames, really breaking it down. We do see a potential shift coming where we're making lower highs, squeezing towards the support zone. Looking like, you know, we're holding below the zone. We're not getting as many wicks to the downside. We're not really seeing the buy volume come in. We're seeing more sell volume than buy volume within the zone of demand that we should be having here. And you know, if we get a couple no demand zones or no demand candles, that obviously will give the indication that the buyers just not able to hold the price above a certain level, and then this price is going to kick in and then push the price down further. So that's the overall analysis for the market. We will keep everyone updated within crypto market updates for the altcoins. Very happy for the people who were able to join us live. If you have any questions, just drop them within the YouTube comment below, and we will continue with the crypto market updates shortly.